Here's a super useful MacBook tip that you probably don't know about. Do you ever airdrop yourself photos from your iPhone? You need to upload them somewhere, but you can't because they're in the HEIC format. Select one or all of them, right click, go down to quick actions, and built into macOS, there's a basic image converter where you can convert pretty much any image type into a JPEG, PNG, or even HEIF. Just click convert, and just like that, you'll now have JPEGs that you can upload wherever you need to. Hope that helped. Follow for more cool tech videos. Bye.
So this thing right here is by far one of my most game-changing travel tech hacks for whenever you're in a hotel room or an Airbnb, and the best part is it's super cheap. And what it is a streaming stick. The idea is you bring this thing with you when you travel, and you can plug it into any hotel room TV, and you'll then have a pre-signed in, already configured setup with your Netflix, Disney Plus, anything else you want. Now, the problem is there hasn't really been a great option on the market for this use case up until now. This is the new Roku Streaming Stick. It's only $30, and you can pay a little bit more for the 4K version. Now, there's a few things that make this thing incredible for traveling and just in general. The first major thing being the size. You can see here next to the iPhone, this thing travels so well and will take up almost no space in your bag. This compact size also means it'll fit into almost any spot on any TV, even if the two USB ports around it are already occupied. And the other huge one is this thing is able to operate on incredibly low power. Normally you'd need to plug in your USB power into a USB brick, but this thing is going to be able to power natively through the TV's USB port, which traditionally does not have enough juice to power a streaming stick, but the new Roku stick can handle it no problem. And then by far the best part is the software that runs on this thing. There's a mode on the device specifically for hotel rooms where they make it really easy to sign on Wi-Fi. Even if it has one of these Wi-Fi portals, it just pops up on your phone and then automatically connects to Roku. So easy. And then within literal minutes of touching down at the hotel room, you have a super familiar streaming setup, all pre-signed in on all your favorite streaming apps, set up exactly how you like it, regardless of what the hotel room TV supports. The Roku remote is also one of my favorites on the market. Super compact, gives you a lot of options, feels great in the hands. This whole setup is just incredible, and again, it's so cheap at like $30. I'll have this linked in my bio. Even if you're just using it at home, the Roku system is incredible, and the fact that this can fit in literally any HDMI port without obstructing all the things around it, and that it can be powered natively with the USB port, it just will work for pretty much any situation. And for traveling in hotel rooms, it's an absolute home run. Toss me a follow for more tech tips, and I'll catch you in the next video. So I had a chance to chat with one of Apple's top executives, Craig Federighi. We talked about the iPad, automation, liquid glass, and even AI. Here's the whole 10-minute unedited conversation. So Craig, quite the last 2 days.
Exciting, yeah, it's been great.
Amazing. Before we get into the actual questions, I had a last-minute thought. That the intro scene of you ripping in the car, was that real? Did you get to burn around there? Gosh. Or were we looking at movie magic?
I would like to say that I actually got to drive an F1 car, but I think there was a little bit of magic involved, yeah.
Fair enough, fair enough. Right on. So I think to cut right into it, a lot announced. I think all eyes are on iPad.
Yeah.
That's one we're really excited for. So many features to wrap your head around. What's your favorite? What's the one that you really think hit home?
Oh, well, first let me just say, I mean, as an iPad lover, this has been a huge year. It's been so exciting for the whole team working on it and knowing what we were going to be able to reveal this year. So it's been super exciting. Well, look, I love all the windowing changes. I've been pushing my iPad for years now. I was a heavy Stage Manager user, and the flexibility that this gives to window management, the capability of opening more windows.
Game changing.
But yes, totally game changing. And even the design elements, simple things like moving the window controls and making them more identifiable, it changes the whole feel.
The little
of the
things are
experience.
such a long way.
They do, yeah. And so I've been having the privilege to get to live on it for the last couple months, and it's been fantastic.
Yeah, love it. And then with the iPad getting so many, we'll call them almost power user features with the windowing, you're getting a cursor, you're getting the top bar.
Yeah.
Some might argue that you're getting almost laptop level productivity or MacBook level productivity.
Sure.
Where do you see that product differentiation line landing long term between the MacBook and the iPad with windowing and cursor?
Yeah, I think we've been on a very steady path over a long time where the Mac has always been centered as very much a keyboard and trackpad first experience. And the iPad is the ultimate touch platform, right?
Totally.
Hold it in your hands, gesture in all kinds of ways that are super expressive, and yet it's our most versatile device. So you sit down, kick back on the couch, start reading, get through the internet, realize like, oh, actually I want to compose something, snap it into your keyboard, and you're off and going. And so it is so versatile. But I think the I think you almost have at least I feel like there's an innate feeling of like which one you want to reach for depending on what you're doing.
Yeah, you just know. Yeah.
So it's great if you can have both, you know.
Totally.
And I'm just finding that with iPad becoming more and more powerful, I can stretch it further and further. But there's still times when I know I want to use my Mac. It's got incredible power. As a hobbyist capabilities and so forth. So I think they both have a very exciting future, but we've found that now we can reach across from the two of them in ways where if it's true to iPad, but it happens to be something that pays homage to the Mac, why not bring it over?
We feel like you already know how to use it.
You already know how to use it.
Yeah,
why not put the window controls in the upper left and give them the stoplight colors? Why not unify the position of the search field to be more consistently in the upper right like we've gotten so used to on the Mac? So those things just, as someone who works across the devices so much during my day, just having those pieces line up.
Same keyboard shortcuts, same, it just works.
Exactly.
Yeah, right on. And then one of my personal favorite things about the iPad for myself and especially my family members is just how intuitive and simple it is.
Yes.
If you've used a phone, you could pick up an iPad and you're cruising. Has there been consideration or even worry that adding all of these power user level features might take away from that inherent simplicity? Is that something you guys are considering and trying to protect?
Yeah, 100%. Even going back to the introduction of split view on the iPad, there was a group of customers, and I'd get personally email from them when someone would say, my father or my grandmother, somehow dragged a tab out of Safari, created a split view.
Yep.
They've got me on tech support. They're so confused. They don't know how to get rid of it.
Yep.
And for them, those weren't experiences that they ever were going to reach for intentionally, but they could be things that just the mere existence of that capability could introduce some complexity that could sometimes throw them off. And so, years ago, we introduced the ability to make the choice. And in fact, you'll see as we get toward the fall, that as part of your setup of iPadOS, we introduce you to the idea of single window and the multitasking mode, and let you make the choice. And so if you say, look, I want single window, maybe this is, you're handing it to a child as their first device. And you can simplify it. The full screen experience in iPad is fantastic. It's simple. It's still very powerful. And you can graduate into something more complex if that's what you want. And so we definitely want to maintain those sort of two identities for iPad, because we know we have the widest conceivable range of users for iPad.
Keep the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
Great
absolutely.
And going back a little bit more broad, I think me personally, as a self-described power user, I think one of my favorite parts of the entire dub was the shortcuts up.
Oh yeah, awesome.
I am a shortcuts power user, but that being said, even as a power user, I'm sometimes intimidated by shortcuts.
Yeah.
They can be a lot set up. Do you see with the AI integrations that are coming forward, do you see those making shortcuts more accessible? And is that something on your guys' radar to make shortcuts put into more folks' hands?
Absolutely. I think certainly this year our focus has been to make shortcuts even more capable. So we have all of these powerful models, and so much of what you want to do with a shortcut is sometimes to manipulate content. Maybe you want to take text in one of your notes, or do some manipulation based on some files that you have selected, or manipulate images. And we have these fantastic models, including those that are on device on our systems, the ones we have in private cloud compute, and even third-party models like OpenAI, ChatGPT. And so now we've given you the power inside of shortcuts to write a prompt, simple, plain English, write a prompt, and do amazing things that can empower your shortcut to do things that were never before possible. And I think that's going to be a huge unlock for people with shortcuts.
I agree. I'm excited for it. And I have to ask on that, do you have a favorite shortcut that you use personally?
Oh, I don't know. Home automation is kind of my
Speaking to my heart. Speaking to my heart.
I think a lot of us who are into home automation find shortcuts super cool. So that's probably for me the big one.
Yeah. Love it. And then touching on AI a little bit while we're here. There's been really cool to see you bringing ChatGPT into things like Image Playground, and it really coexisting on the OS level in a way that's just making AI so much more accessible to everybody. As ChatGPT comes more and more integrated, where is that line between ChatGPT and Apple Intelligence, and how do they both exist in the Apple ecosystem long term alongside each other?
Yeah, well, I mean, long term in the world of AI is
Fair
gonna
enough.
feels like maybe a year is the distant future, and in AI things are moving super fast, and I think you're going to see that Apple Intelligence, of course, continue. Like our models have gotten more powerful this year; they're going to continue to become more capable. But OpenAI's models are becoming more capable still, and so I think you'll always see these set of advanced operations. Where you're going to want to reach for a third-party model to do something. You'll also see Apple Intelligence being able to handle more and more of your things. I think the key is that these things are always deeply integrated into the experience where, and that I think is the magic we're trying to achieve with Apple Intelligence, is you aren't having to go to a separate app and leave your document and leave the experience to use intelligence. That intelligence can be right where you are, working with the content you're working on, and we want to make sure that you have access to what we offer, but also reach for the best capabilities that in a particular domain.
And letting the user choose,
and that's
which
right.
is the
that's
big
right.
thing.
And make it, and you know, we have a unique privacy promise with our on-device and our private cloud compute models, but if you want to make the choice to use a third-party model, we want to make sure you understand where you're sending your data. You have that choice, and then you can take advantage of those capabilities as well.
Amazing. And then one more simple, higher level,
Yeah.
not as hard-hitting question. Liquid glass, with how vast that rollout is,
Yeah.
I'll bet you probably tell better than me, it hits thousands and thousands of UI, UX elements across all your
Yes.
devices. Is there one UI, UX element that Liquid Glass touches, whether it's on the watch phone, that maybe one we haven't seen yet, that is just a treat to interact with that you absolutely love?
Well, so one of the amazing things about Liquid Glass is that we make it flex, we make it pop, and we make it morph. So like we had a real goal with our UI that it's used by so many people. We didn't want something where you wake up in the morning and your phone is upgraded and you're like, I don't even understand what this device is anymore,
The
right?
shiny thing on my home screen.
We have our users are spend so much of their attention with experience, and they love it. We wanted something that was instantly recognizable. And yet, once you started using it, you felt really rewarded that you kind of had both a new phone and one that you already knew how to use. And so much of the behavior of Liquid Glass that I love is its dynamism as you move. The animations aren't just something fading out or appearing. They are actually morphing. You know, you tap on something, it flexes, it bounces, it turns into a menu, and then turns back into
so
the original
organic
button.
too.
Yeah, and it turns out that from a usability point of view, when things move and transition and move back, not only is it just beautiful to perceive, but it's easier to track. Oh, that became that, and now it's gone back here. You're able to just, the controls, my tabs, I scroll down in music, and my now playing goes down here, and my tabs morph into a control there. Now I know, there's my tabs, they just went down there, I can bring them back. Nice. So these animations are delightful, but also super functional.
Form and function.
Form and function, there it is.
Awesome. Well, I think that's everything I got. Thank you.
Awesome, well, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Greg.